This is yet another video in the series in which we are making 6 parts and then we're going to put them together into an assembly. So far we did base in class, we did the bracket in class. I just did the hex nut in the last video I did. The next one we're going to do is we're going to model this Clevis. So the Clevis is a little bit involved here. If you look at it, it's got a bunch of different stuff to it. Before we go any further, I always recommend look at the drawing, make sure you understand the part clearly, and then come up with a procedure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a rectangle on the top plane, and instead of extruding it upward, I'm going to extrude it downward by 2 inches. The hex, by the way, I mean the dimensions of that will be 2.3125 in one direction and 1.5 in the other direction, and then I'll extrude it 2 inches downward. After I do that, I will probably then make a cutout in it that is 1.8125 wide. The full, I'm going to make it on the very bottom of it, the full depth of the thing, so 1.8125 this way, the full depth of it that way, and then I'll cut it to this surface, the top surface, but offset it by 0.25. So it's going to not quite go to that surface. It's going to leave 0.25 behind. After I've done that, then I can put in the inner fillet here, and then the outer fillet there, and fillet this edge and this edge. Oh, you know what? I actually should do those first fillets first, now that I'm thinking about it. And this happens as you go through it in your brain. You might go, oh, wait a minute. Instead of having to do 1, 2, 3, 4 fillets, I can fillet before I do the cutout, and that'll actually work better for me. So that's what I'm probably going to do, is I'll do the cutout before I do the fillet. That does add one other little tricky thing to it. Then after I do those 2 fillets down here, I'll do the cutout, and then I'll do the inner and outer fillets there. Oh, you know, something else I should do before I do the cutout is I should put the hole and cut it all the way through. That way I don't have to do 2 holes. I can just do 1. When I get all of that done, then I can make the circle on top and do this rod that sticks out of the top. So here, basically what I'm showing you is you kind of think through what you want to do before you start drawing. So we're going to do that now. We're going to make a new part. Okay, this new part, I'm going to start by a sketch, as I said, on the top surface of a center rectangle. Okay, and that center rectangle, let me go down here and check. What are the dimensions again? It's 1.5 one way and 2.3125 the other way. So this will be 2.3125 that way and 1.5 that way. Hit enter. That's a nice simple sketch. Let's finish it. Then we're going to extrude this. This. I didn't mean to click it twice. That distance, I think it said it was 2 inches from there to there. Yeah, 2 inches is the overall dimension. So go into here. I'm going to make it 2 inches, but here's what I'm going to do. Instead of just doing 2 inches, which extrudes that direction, I'm going to make it -2. That way I can put the little metal rod coming out of the top in the other direction. Of course, my operation for my very first extrusion is always new body. I say, okay. Next, what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and put in those fillets I was talking about, the ones that do this edge, and that'll round it off basically so that we get this curvature here and here, this curvature here and here. That's 0.5. So let's go into here. With the fillet, we're going to do this edge and this edge, 0.5. That rounds those off, and I can say OK, and click this back to the home view real quick. All right, so now we've got that. What I want to do next is put the hole through it over here. Before I do that center cutout, and before I do the fillets to the outside and the inside, or the inside then the outside, you also have to do those in that order. I'm going to go ahead and make a sketch on this surface of in this case I can just do a center diameter circle. I don't have to do the whole wizard, although you could. In fact, you know what? I take that back. Let me Control Z this. Let me just draw a point on here. Now, one thing we know about this point is we're going to want that point to be vertical from the origin. We want it in the center here. And then let's see, it says it's 0.125 down from that inner edge. And I got to have that inner edge before I can go. So darn it, it does want me to cut that first. Didn't catch that. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to say finish sketch, and I'm actually going to delete the sketch. Delete the sketch. And instead, I will go ahead and make the cutout first. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a sketch on this surface. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to make a, let's do a center diameter, a center circle. We'll put it center here right now and go like this, and then we got to make some changes to it. The first thing we need to do, oh, wait, that's wrong, Control Z. Again, I keep forgetting. Let me finish this sketch. Finish the sketch and delete it. There's a better way to do this. Let's instead roll this guy over this way and put the sketch on this surface. This is a much better way of doing this. Now I can do a center circle, a center rectangle there, and the other point I want up there. Okay? So that keeps it in the middle, and notice we're cutting it from the bottom of this thing, right? This, right? So we want that edge to be sitting coincident on there, and the center to be in the middle, and that takes care of a lot of those things for me to make things centered and all of that. 1.8125, sorry about that. 1.8125 is the width this way. 1.8125 here, like that. Okay, and that's fully defined, so we can finish that sketch. Now, if you look at it from home, you can see it's down there on the bottom. We want to cut up to within a certain distance of this top surface here. So we look here, we want a 0.25 gap. Now remember, if you're reflecting design intent, you do not want to do any math. That's part of the reason I didn't go ahead and make this hole. The reason I decided not to is because to figure out where that hole would be without this surface up here in place would mean I'd have to do math. So I've got to make the cutout first, and then I can put that hole in place by without doing any math. So 0.25 is the number we want. It's true, we could cut it 1.75, 2 minus 0.25, but that's not, will not reflect design intent. So I would take off points if you did it that way. You need to use the number 0.25. So here's how this works. We're going to extrude, oops, not that. Let's turn this over so I can get all of it. We're going to extrude this, this, and this, okay? We're going to extrude it to object. Where are we going to extrude it to? We're going to extrude it all the way up to here. But wait, you say, that's not right. And it isn't. But what it allows us to do is do something called an offset. And if we go under offset here and go 0.25, negative 0.25, sorry about that, negative 0.25, it makes it stop 0.25 before it hits there. So this is how we're using that number 0.25 to dimension this cutout here without doing any math. It's a little tricky, right? There's a lot of steps we did, and choosing to do it from the underside and having to figure out we have to do this before we do the other, as I did, helps you put it all together in your head. So this is the right way to do this. It makes it reflect design intent. So I'm going to say OK. So now that cutout is there. Now I can make a sketch on this face. I don't know why it did that. Put a point around here. Then we make that point vertical from the origin, like that. Then we can go into our drawing, and we can see it's 1.25 from that inner edge. Now, if you go here and you try to just do this, you can see if the settings are right, if you get to where that inner edge is, it'll actually show it here. If yours does not do that, and yours might not, there is a way to get that, let me roll it around here and show you what I mean. There is a way to get this surface to appear as a line that you can make the sketch with. And that trick is this. When you go to create, there's project include, and you can project a surface onto your sketch even if it's not in your sketch. So you choose project and you click that face and you say OK. Now, when I look at this directly from the right-hand side, now I've got that line there. It's part of the sketch. The other way I showed you a minute ago is only if the settings are exactly right will it do that, and your settings may not be right to automatically project that surface in. So if that's not there, And what you need to do is this project include thing. Anyway, now I can do sketch dimension from here to here, over this way. And what was that size again? I think it was 1.25. Yeah, 1.25. So I go into here and 1.25 and hit enter. Now that point's in exactly the right place. I'll finish that sketch. I'll do the whole tool. As always, from sketch, select this point. Distance, let's see if through all does what we want. Let me look at this way. Oh, it will. It'll put it through the whole thing anyway. I was worried that with this cutout, it wouldn't cut through. It'd hit this gap and stop. But it cuts through just fine anyway. Let's go back and check the diameter of that is 0.5 right there. Let me go into here, change this. We do not need all this threaded stuff. We want a simple hole, of 0.5 in diameter. You might ask, well, why did you do all of this when you could have drawn a 0.5-inch circle? And the answer is, if I have to go back and change this to a threaded hole or change it to fit a particular bolt size or something like that, I can do that by going into the hole feature and making those changes. All right, next thing we want to do is we want to put in some fillets. Now, if you fillet the outside first, it actually cuts this corner off and makes a problem. So we have to make sure we fillet the inner edges before we fillet the outer edges. So let's click those two inner edges, okay? Let's go ahead and try doing them all at once. Let's click these outer edges. See what happens. We do all four of them simultaneously if this will work. And then what was the dimension of that? It's also this one here. It's that guy there. Yeah, that guy. That's 0.5, and the inner one's also 0.5. So let's go back into here, and let's change this to 0.5. Oh, it did work. Good. All right, so let me explain real quick. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to click. I should click OK and move on. But I want to show you what would happen if you were to fillet this edge and this edge at 0.5 and then say OK. Well, okay, actually, I was mistaken. I misremembered this. I thought this would come and hit that inner edge there and mess it up. But it doesn't. So you could have done it in the other order. But what I'm going to do here, let me go edit feature. Go back this way. Don't look at it like this. No, I'm going to look at it this way. Yeah, look at it like this. You know that if you make a fillet and you want to add more, you go on your keyboard in the bottom left corner of the CRTL or control button. If you hold that down, you can now go in and add other items to your fillet. So let me hold control down and click that inner edge. So all those edges are now good. I can say OK, and let me click home. All right, last thing we need to do is we want to sketch on this top surface here. It's a center diameter circle like this. And let's go into here and see what diameter, 0.5. All right, nice easy numbers. So let's dimension this 0.5. Say finish sketch, go back into here. I need it to stick up 2 inches, it says right there. So I go here, I'm going to extrude, can I turn that on? There we go. This 2 inches. And I say, oh, make sure it's joined, and say, okay, everything else we're doing will cut. So there it is, that's the Clevis, but one last thing, if we go back and look at our drawing, it says blue smooth powder coat, save as Clevis. So we want to go to modify, appearance, wait for that to come up. In this design, we don't have anything right now, so we have to come down here under paint, scroll down to powder coat smooth, scroll down to blue, and we need to download it. Once it's downloaded, now you can drop it up here in this design, and then once it's in the design, you can apply it to the part like that just by dragging it. Click close, then we go save. We're going to save as Clevis, C-L-E-V-I-S. We're going to make sure it's in Learning Assemblies. I don't have my Clevis there yet, so I will go ahead and click save. So now the Clevis is in there with the blue smooth powder coat. That's the end of this video. I will probably go back, well, maybe I won't. Sorry about that a little bit at the beginning where I got confused about the sequence. I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal for you to experience that, but maybe if you're smart, you'll have watched the whole video through once and then go back and watch it through so you won't be making those wrong turns that I made. The good thing about that is it does illustrate to you how an actual designer might be working through something, go, oh crap, I have to go the other way, I have to redo this a different way. And you might go back and start a sketch and then finish it and delete it. One thing I will point out is even though I made several sketches that I didn't use, I always deleted them. So this sketch is directly related to this feature. This feature is related to that feature. This sketch is related to this feature. This sketch is related to this feature. This is added to actually these features, but they had to be done after I'd done this cut. So I had to wait and do it after that one. And then this sketch is related to this feature. So there's no sketches that don't have a feature that they go with, is my point. Anyway, that's the video.